deer. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning when we woke up, and we had a place that we were going to go to. We had set up a deer stand looking out over a field, and we were planning on getting there about an hour before sunrise, but we got a little bit of a late start getting out there. Going back, nothing out of the usual. I had spent 10 years of my life there. My dad had spent probably about 35 of his life in these woods. When we were getting back to the deer stand, we were walking back. It was a nice, clear morning, night, whatever you would want to call it. And it was a little less than a full moon, not quite a full moon, but you could see pretty crisply as long as the clouds weren't going over the moon. We get back to the deer stand, and it's still about 20 minutes before what we call first light. It's a little bit before sunrise, probably about 15 minutes. But first light is when you stop getting light from the moon and you start getting the yellow light from the sun coming up over the horizons. You still don't have shadows. It seems like everything is still in shadow because the sun's not up over the horizon. It's just the light coming around the horizon. And we're in a pretty small field, so most of the time the shadows don't exist unless the sun is pretty much straight up and down. You're not going to get shadows cast across the field. And we're back there a little bit early than what we usually see. We usually see deer there about daylight, probably the next 30 minutes thereafter. But we can't shoot really until daylight. It's not the law, but it's what I was taught growing up as being an ethical hunter, is you don't shoot unless you have 100% certainty that you can hit your target and that you can see your target clearly, and until daylight breaks over the trees, you really don't get that. So my dad settles in. He has a nice comfy chair. I have a little fold-out chair that you take on camping trips. So he sits back and he says he's going to take a little bit of a nap. So I'm out there. I'm the only one awake. And he's a pretty heavy sleeper. It takes a little bit more than just a shake to get him up. But about 5 minutes before what I would call sunrise, I start seeing some movement in the trees. I'm out here deer hunting. I think it's a deer. So I pull up my gun, I get it ready, and I notice that it's slightly humanoid. And we're talking, it's walking out of the trees about 100 yards away from me. Maybe a little less than that, maybe a little bit more. But 100 yards is about the key there. And I think it's probably my cousin. He likes to dress up elaborately during the first week of hunting season. He hunts not far. I thought it was weird that he would be walking across the field here because it's about a 5-minute walk out of his way to walk through my field. And it walks out of the woods, starts crossing the field a little bit, and about the time it gets to the fenced-in field, we have a 3-layer of wire fence cutting off a part of the field in our food plot. And he walks right up to that and puts his hand on the top layer. This top layer is about 4 feet off the ground, 3 3/4, 4 feet off the ground. So it's enough to where for any standard size human, and any human that I knew at the time, to get over that fence, over the top, you have to push that down, kind of tight over the top of it, high center yourself, tighter over it, like over the other side. It's not an easy task. My dad was 6'2" at the time. I came to the field since then. I'm scope, and I'm on a 4x zoom. So 100 yards looks like 25 yards away. And when I look at it, I can't really see much definition to things, but I can see that it is a mostly hairy animal, head to toe, and it's walking across from me, so I don't get a good look at what the face structure is, but I know that it's not human. It doesn't have a super protruding nose. If you get a side profile of a human, you get a nose that sticks out forward. But it was kind of a shorter nosed. The chin was out. The chin and mouth were out a little bit farther than what you would expect. And the fur, I mean, I didn't get a good look at it. I couldn't tell you what the color was, but it wasn't just hair stubble. It wasn't, like a shortcut hairdo over the body. It was probably a couple inches long. And it had a nice deep chest, not broad, because I'm not getting a frontal of it, I'm getting a side view. And its chest is bodybuilder thick. And I don't know any bodybuilders that are coming, so I'm just in awe. And the entire time, my dad's just sleeping through it. I'm looking at this thing, and as it steps over the fence, it takes absolutely zero effort to do so. It steps over the fence, just one leg over the top, hand on the rail, I guess not to cut itself, and it just kind of steps over it. It doesn't like hike over, go sideways to step over it and push it down. It just steps over it kind of casually, like you're stepping over something that's about 2 foot off the ground. You just like pick your foot up real high, stick it over the top, and your back leg kind of follows up in an arc pattern. And at that point, I realize what I'm looking at. 8 foot tall, humanoid looking, hairy, and it's a Bigfoot. And as soon as I realize this, I start hitting my dad on the leg. And, it's taking a little bit to get up. So I look away and I'm like, I'm hitting him on the leg and he's stirring up. And I look up just in time to see him walk into the woods. And there's a little clearing that a bunch of animals use to go through so that I know exactly where he walks out.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive to grip every twist and every turn. Come rain, slick, sleet, or snow, leaves, mud, gravel, or sharp turns. Tempo the trails in the new RAV4. Drive steady. The all-hybrid Camry with all-wheel drive available on every trail. Or turn up the traction in the beefed-up Tundra available four-wheel drive. Find those vehicles at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
reason he thinks I'm joking.
say thank you, Isaac, for subscribing. And Omar, hello, and Echo, Alright, bye guys.